and welcome. You're watching the Property Show. In the next 60 minutes, we'll get you news, views and developments in real estate from across the country. Joining us on the show today is Gaurav Pandey, Head of Research from Prop Equity. Gaurav might be filling in for Sameer D'Souza, but he's clearly at the top of his work. In fact, he's the gentleman who makes Sameer and me sound very intelligent every week on the show. Gaurav, thank you very much for joining us. All right, our top focus today, worried investors writing in by the dozen on Wave Infratech, the realty arm of Ponty Chadha's group. What's the future of Wave real estate projects? Next up, hot property options in Bangalore and Chennai. We'll also take you to Pune and Kalyan and get you some smart property investments in these cities. In our expert segment today, we'll get to the bottom of building materials and what developers should ideally be using for your buildings. The story dominating news is the unfortunate incident which led to the demise of Ponty Chadha, the promoter of Wave Infratech, the realty arm of the business group. Let's focus on what the group is all about and how wide is its reach and spread in real estate. If you look at the diversified business interests, the group has been around for almost 50 years. In fact, it completes 50 years in 2013, which is next year. It has interests in sugar, paper, manufacturing, distilleries. Realty business, in fact, is the most recent of them all. If you look at the realty business per se, what's happening here? Well, Wave is into developing residential and commercial properties. Wave 11 is one big commercial realty project at Sector 18 Noida. Then you also have Wave 1, a 45-story commercial center at Sector 18 Noida, Wave City Center. Will be having several multiplexes, 2-3 million square feet retail space, and it'll keep coming on the graphics as we continue with this discussion. I think the big focus point is the worried in buyers. For example, Gagan Sedana wrote in to us, pardon me, he's invested or bought something in Wave City on NH24 and he says, what is likely to be the future of those who have invested in these projects? Is it safe to stick to it? What happens to those who have invested under the subvention scheme? So there are banks also involved in it. Ashu Sinha, senior editor who's been tracking the developments closely, now joins us. Ashu, you've had a chance to catch up with the management. What are they saying right now?
Well, first thing, Manisha, they are clearly not saying anything officially. They've been quiet, and after the unfortunate turn of events, they've been quiet. But, in a situation like this, you would want to give them more time. I've sent them some questions. They are taking their time. And you'd appreciate that in a situation like this, the top management would like to meet once the family occasion, and this is the time for the family to be together. Once that is over, then I will be pursuing them for an answer. What happens? Who heads the realty business of the group? There are other businesses. How does it now separate between the surviving, the third brother, and the son, Manpreet Chadha, who I've spoken to a little while ago? What happens with that? What happens of some of the issues related to, the key is whether the buyers, the people who have invested in the project, they get their project in time, they get their finished product in time. That's going to be one key question. So all the answers not coming right now officially, but unofficially what they tell you is they are on the job. After the incident happened on Saturday, work did stop at some of the centers, but from what I understand after having spoken today, that things are back to normal. It's business as usual, but when you have a promoter-driven company like this, there is a sentiment issue. So that is something we'll closely watch out for. And of course, we'll watch out for the answers coming from the group officially, what they have to say, hopefully as soon as we possibly can in the next day or two.
Ashu, thank you very much. So Ashu will continue to track that story. Meanwhile, just a couple of key data points as well. Total number of projects, and this is the residential data that we are talking about, is 7, Noida 4, Ghaziabad 1 and Mohali 2. Project names will come up on your screen. So let's actually look at some of these key data points and examine the Wave Group. Gaurav has got into real estate very, very recently, even though they have a history with other businesses. In fact, most of the residential launches are as young as 2011. So there's no execution track record either with this promoter group.
I think you're absolutely right. There's no execution track record for the developer. But I think what went in their favor was the financial depth that they carried.
They have a lot of money to finish their projects.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And the second thing is they bagged some of the very good land parcels. So their projects are not one of those run-of-the-mill projects or land parcels which you see in distant locations, or you have serious doubts about the location. So they have strong locations. But yes, execution capabilities is a challenge. When you are a promoter-driven company, Ashu rightly said, there are issues which happens when there are major, even changes in the promoter structure, likes of it. But what goes in the favor of their side is that somewhere there was a kind of a succession planning on the real estate side.
Okay.
So we shouldn't be having too much.
Because I think the son is already a joint managing director, right? So and he's been handling the real estate business. So that doesn't have a vacuum other than the liquor business, which probably has now a bigger vacuum, which the newspapers have been talking about quite a bit.
And the second thing, if you look at the team structure that they have, so it is not a small group. It is not that you had one individual running the entire company. You have series of professionals running systemic divisions in themselves. Yes, there would be a kind of an impact. I won't say just 2-3 days. It would perhaps stretch on to even 3 to 4 weeks. What you should be mindful of the fact as a buyer would be see what happens after 4 weeks onwards. Do you see real statements coming out of the company? Do you see some kind of forward direction coming out of 4 weeks? That would set the momentum of, as a buyer, should I continue my investment or what should I do next?
All right.
India's #1 news app just got even better. Download NDTV's new app. Fully optimized for retina display. Full screen view. Faster response time. And Sudoku. NDTV's new iPad app. Download now.